it's good, having him back is a good thing, and it's him getting ready to play for us. I know there's a lot of things going on, but those are really, for Adrian and, for DeAndre's agent. But, he's focused on the team. He's happy to be here. He's a Seattle guy. And, we're looking forward to using him in games.
Could you kind of explain, to some degree, obviously if y'all traded Morrow for Tristan Bowen, you give up something, you get something. How would a transfer possibly be in the Sounders' interest?
Obviously, if a player transfers, you end up getting allocation money. So use the example of Kai Kamara at Kansas City. So when he went on loan to Norwich, Kansas City picked up allocation money on the loan. There's a percentage that goes to the club, percentage that goes to the league, and then when he came back and then they sold him, they picked up again allocation money on that sale, and then above a certain amount, there's also money that then goes towards a use that you can have for the club. Whether that is to do things for your academy, build infrastructure, build facilities. You can use that money as you want. So, at the end of the day, you want to do what's best for the players, and help the players to continue to grow and advance. We're a club that's, that wants to win and wants to succeed. But I also think success is predicated on when you do what's best for the players, you're going to have success, and players are going to want to play here.
What was DeAndre's demeanor his first day back at training with this team, and what sort of reception did he receive from everyone?
He was good. I saw him yesterday. We talked yesterday for quite a bit. But DeAndre's DeAndre. He's got his feet pretty well on the ground. I know it's tough to get carried away with things, but he's pretty down to earth, and you just gotta keep moving forward, and as opportunities get presented to him, pick the situation that makes sense, not the situation that everybody else thinks makes sense, but a situation that makes sense.
How much guidance are you giving him in terms of, as you say, being level-headed on this?
That's up to DeAndre. I think the people who raised him have given him that guidance. That's what you always look to when kids have a good grounding, and so tribute to that. But I told him, he's got to talk to people that he trusts, feels comfortable with, and get the information that he needs to make a decision. But right now, his focus is on our game Wednesday, and his focus is on our game Sunday.
Is he going to play on Wednesday? Get into specifics, but just does it say something about the team, the development of youth players, that you have an academy guy that European clubs are sniffing around now when he's 20 years old?
No, it's good. There's not a lot of, when you look at it, he's a guy who's about to turn 21, and, how many 21-year-old right backs have, 3 World Cup games under their belt? There's not, that's a very exclusive market. So it's something that we're proud of. It's something that our academy, should be proud of. The guys who have worked the academy over the years. Dick McCormick has coached him, and Darren Sawatsky was involved in the academy. Mark Nichols, who's doing things now. All those guys that have been involved over the years with him, have a lot to be proud of, because it's all, it's a process. It's not something that happens overnight.
It's tough to do, Zig, but how do you keep a guy like that here in MLS? Isn't that better for the league, or is the money something that a team can't pass up?
It is better for the league, but at the same token, it's just like why does Pau Gasol play in the NBA? Why does Ginobili play in the NBA? Because the league's better than their leagues in their home countries, and there's going to be certain players where it's the right thing to do is to go overseas, because they can deal with that opportunity, and players have done it in the past, and Clint Dempsey's done it, and Michael Bradley's done it, and now they've come back, and at some point he'll come back as well, but it just means the opening he creates means somebody else will be able to take advantage of that opportunity. That's the way I look at it. But again, you have to do what's right for the player, and the player, is always trying to play at the highest level he can play at.
Has he expressed interest that if he leaves, he'll want to come back here someday?
We haven't talked about that. We're not close to that stage yet.
When he was named to the 23 for the World Cup, did you expect this kind of attention to soon follow?
Didn't know how much playing time he was going to get, and I think, the little cameo appearances helped him, but, I think it's really the Belgium game, and that shot him into the limelight. So with the injury to Fabian Johnson, then he came in, and had some good moments there and good minutes in that game, and that's sort of shot up his attention and his recognition factor.
Is there a party watching that Belgium game thinking, we may not be keeping this guy along the way he's playing here?
Thought sort of briefly went through my mind.
When you see Klinsmann utilize some of your players, Clint and Yedlin, do you do any scouting on your own players? Say, they're being utilized in one way, and does that change your tactics any?
No, it's like I said before, DeAndre, and we've talked about pushing DeAndre into the midfield as well, and I think DeAndre really, in the 2 cameo appearances he made when he got pushed into midfield, it was really to provide cover when Fabian Johnson went forward and got stuck. So instead of bringing in a Davis or a Bedoya who's not comfortable being all the way in the back, you bring in somebody who can contribute offensively but also give cover to a guy who's made a lot of runs in that game. So I think it was more a situation of that as much as anything. And for at times this season, we've tried to play a tandem on the right of Evans and DeAndre, where they can sort of interchange with each other and get forward.
Do you have to work extra hard to keep the team focused on the task at hand, this week, given all the extra media attention and the return of some big players?
No, I think the guys know what's at stake on Wednesday. Today we wanted to just have a recovery day, and so we'll talk about it tomorrow and focus on it. But I think deep down they know it's Portland, and they know it's the Open Cup, and they know it's a big league match. And, we were disappointed in our result last Saturday. So we've got to get after it again.
Is your expectation that DeAndre is going to be available on Wednesday?
He'll be available. In what capacity yet, I don't know.
And what is the status of that other national team guy?
Clint will be here. Later this week.
Any updates on Oba?
Oba got through what we wanted him to do today. Fine. So we'll see how he feels tomorrow, and we'll continue to progress it.
Because on the broadcast they suggested that if it was a must-win game on Saturday, that Oba might have been able to play. Is that a fair assessment, or is the injury more serious?
No, that's pretty much a fair assessment. We want to make sure it doesn't turn into something long-term because of where we are in the season at this stage, so we want to be cautious with it and careful. And the turf here is not the best thing to play on if you've got a little bit of a muscle injury.
Given the profile that Yedlin and Dempsey had with the World Cup, can you assess at this point what the long-term impact is on the Sounders in terms of the...
Well, hopefully there'll be positive impacts, increased jersey sales. So go buy your jersey. Got to do my stuff for the PR department. I got to get a bonus built into my contract for that stuff. I think it has a great impact for the Sounders. Internationally, certainly name recognition of the club. There's a lot more clubs aware around the world of who the Seattle Sounders are. And what we are. I remember, one guy called me and was trying to sell his club as an option for one of our players, and said, we're going to average 30,000 people a game. And I said, yeah, he's going to have to get used to about 10,000 less than we have now. And he sort of was taken aback a little bit. So I think that'll help the awareness of just our club as a whole, and it's just that recognition factor for the league also.
The last 18 months have been one seemingly ego-boosting event after another for DeAndre. How has he handled those in the past, and do you think kind of these, the All-Star game, the getting called up in the national team, you go down the list, how has he handled those, and how do you think that's prepared him for the attention he's getting now?
I think he's handled them well. We try and be careful too of, I know I wanted you guys to talk to him today, but then, get him out of the light for a little bit, is good as well. He's still a young player, still, needs to take care of other things and stay focused. But he's generally been very good about staying focused. It's hard to say when all this happens that you never get caught up in it. There's probably moments, but I think with him it's been moments, and it's very easy to get him back.
Can you talk about the decisions for your lineups, having to face Portland twice in a week?
No, not really. We're going to see. A lot of it's predicated upon health. We felt going into the game against Vancouver that when you looked at our whole squad and guys who were missing, Traore and Remick, those guys, probably 9 out of our top 18 were missing. So it depends how many of those guys are back and healthy, and that'll determine how much squad rotation we feel we can do.
Where are some of those guys health-wise, as far as Jimmy, Dylan, and so on?
they're making their way back. Jimmy played a good 45 minutes yesterday against Edmonton, so that was good for him. He actually played 60, and and Remick is cleared for full training tomorrow, so that's the first time he's been cleared into full training. So we're making advancements.
What's the feeling going into the game on Wednesday?
It's going to be a battle. It's going to be a war. It's going to be exciting. Hope you have your ticket.
Fourth PR department.
Exactly. Trying to hit all things ticket sales now. I'm looking for that bonus now.
The bonus is on the way.
Okay.
What's it kind of mean for the team, though, to play like Portland back-to-back in two separate competitions? One, the U.S. Open Cup, you win or lose, and then the MLS League game.
It's interesting because obviously, certain when you got two teams that are as competitive as our two teams, and the rivalry that exists in the Cascadia Cup as well, and the rivalry between Seattle and Portland, playing two games this close together, certainly sometimes things from one game can carry with them into the next game, so there's always that situation. So it's not like, oh, he kicked me and you see the guy again 6 weeks later. You're going to see him 4 days later, and so it's going to be intense. It's going to be intense for both teams, and not ideal, but certainly something, it's the way it is.
When weighing lineup decisions, does one game have more importance than the other?
Like I said before, entering a competition, we want to win it. So the Open Cup's important to us, and certainly the league match is important to us. So they're equally important. So we're going to try and win the game Wednesday, and then we'll focus on winning the game on Sunday.